Hey review family, keep it tight. My name is J Morse the Review Guy, and I'm back again to bring you another video, and in this one I'm going to be covering the new Glass Tides record entitled In Between. These guys are a 4-piece band coming out of Adelaide, Australia. I discovered them through the Dreambound channel, which I do highly suggest for anyone that wants to hear new music. They habitually find themselves promoting melodic metalcore bands, djent bands, alternative rock, alternative metal, emo bands, a lot of which does in fact come out of Australia, and might I add that it's a hot spot for metal right now, specifically in the djent categories, and that's not even talking about the amazing rock scene it has going on right now with like Tropical Fuckstorm and King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. This record's not only something that I want to put on your radar, but it also gives me a very apt way to discuss this strain of metalcore that is really starting to become popular right now, which is blending aggression with hypermelodicism. Recently, there's been this feeling of an all-or-nothing mentality in metalcore music. Either you have bands that are having a take on the genre that is extremely heavy, such as Knocked Loose or See You Space Cowboy, or many bands that find themselves in the Pure Noise Records camp, or you have bands that are so melodic, they lose their edge. Sometimes they'll be technical just to be technical. djent is definitely a bad offender of this recently. They relinquish their tenacity for the sake of cheap Meshuggah riffage and Fibonacci sequence type drum patterns and unnecessary technicality, as well as vocals you've heard a million times before, and this is coming from a fan of the genre just being observant. Both styles, might I add, are doing pretty decent right now, and I find Glass Tides in another strain right now that I am really enjoying. Bands that are finding a good middle ground again. That's not even to start on the whole deathcore slamming brutal deathcore type thing where it's a race to see who can sound more disgusting. Glass Tides have made a pretty good record. The drums are crisp, they have a nice resonance to them that is very evident from the very first track, Crawling. I would even say the first section of the track. The guitar work has this tension building quality that matches the emotion very closely, going hand in hand to constantly be creating swells in these mixes. And that's just talking about when it's ascending, sometimes it can be descending. You also get tracks that all things considered are heavier, such as Waste. A strong example of a metalcore song that does blend the lines, just like some of the most popular bands of the 2000s. You have chunky 10-ton riffs and a crushing killer exit to the chorus, but the chorus itself is very snappy. It's very in your face and bubbly, dare I say. If not catchy, but it doesn't lose its aggression that badly. The bridge screams also remind me a little bit of Crisp Laporto from Can't Swim, especially with that whiny timbre that comes through. So that's a plus. And speaking of Can't Swim, there are some definitive emo vibes coming in here, even if they are in very vague traces from here and there. Usually just in a vocal line or a way a melody will play out. And staying just really quickly in the lane of comparisons, these chorus hit like bullets. And I can't help but be reminded of Bad Omen's record last year, Finding God Before God Finds Me, and why I enjoyed those choruses so much. And even if Mirrors is intentionally low-key, it does showcase that Glass Tides is not only capable, but willing to turn it down to a more low-key and depressive tone without having to make it super blistering, and it's still being emotional. Even if I do feel like this track could do a little bit more in the way of atmosphere, when this track listing hits hard, it hits rough, it hits rigid, but when it's melodic, it's fairly beautiful. Now, I know I've been talking really positively about this record, and I do enjoy it thoroughly for the most part. I can see a lot of people taking my recommendation, and when they listen to it, feeling like it is very mundane in the songwriting department, which I can give you that. As an avid consumer of djent and metalcore, the songwriting here when it comes to the riff writing, I will give you that. It's not the strongest. You kind of have to go into this with your eyes glazed over a little bit in that department of originality, because I don't think that this record necessarily has that in spades. Don't step into this hoping for ingenuity or boundary genre-pushing soundscapes. It's just a crisp, clear, well-produced metalcore record with a lot of influences going into it, and a really good, exuberant performance that keeps up the energy that makes metalcore so fun in the first place when it comes to this blended style. I'm going to be giving this a 7.5 out of 10, and that is a wrap. Have you heard this new Glass Tides record, In Between? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss a record with you. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is J Morse the Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying, go ahead, live your best life.